thing that happens. I would expect that to happen with a lot of robot kits, simply because, like I said earlier, these are hard to find. So I'm scrolling back to step 8. We're actually mounting these, and I'm going to go ahead and screw these in as it says. And they screwed in pretty easily. And again, I'm just doing this with my hand. You don't need any fancy tools with this. Now, if this was a different type of robot kit that rolled around outside and whatnot, I would say tighten these a little bit better, maybe mount it a little bit different. But since this is a walking, slow-moving Hexapodinno, we're going to go ahead and just mount it with our hands, just as we did there. Okay, so now moving on to step 9, which is installing the power switch. Installing the power switch is fairly straightforward. So let me just kind of take off here what I was experimenting with to leave us only with the wiring harness. So it basically wants us to feed the 2 loose wires here through the back. There's a little slit back here. We're going to feed it through there and plug it right back into the servo commander. Now, we're going to need to unravel the front part of the screw, because it contains the pieces that we need in order to screw it in. And that consists of basically a nut. And this is just a common switch, so you can expect to see these in all of them. There's part A, which is the nut. Part B, which is a special washer that has a little tab on it. And then part C, which is like a lock nut of some sort, or a lock washer. Basically has little teeth on it. And let's see what else. And part D is the actual last nut. Now I'm not going to take that one off just yet. I want to see real quick here how this is supposed to be assembled. It says assemble them in the sequence of nut A, washer B, module installation board, power line, and switch. As okay. So I'm going to put this one back on here, which is the lock washer. And I'm going to just simply feed that through. Now it looks like with that lock washer we don't have enough space in there. So I'm going to take out all of these. And I think what I can imagine from this is that we're not going to need the first two, which is, or the last two, which is C and D, the lock washer and the additional nut. Basically because we need to have some room to fit it through the plastic. So we're going to just feed this through, and sure enough we have plenty of room. Not sure if you can see this portion or not, but I'm going to go ahead and show you afterwards. Then you have the washer that has a little kind of special little tab that goes right into the plastic of the mini Hexapodinno chassis. And just again with your hand, just kind of lightly screw this in. And once you feel it tighten up, I highly suggest giving it a few turns with the set of pliers. Now, don't do it too tight, because you are dealing with a plastic or a plexiglass of some sort. But screw it in enough such that, you know, it screws in and it stays nice. Notice the switch is right there in the front. Very easy and accessible. So the next step in this is it says to pass the wires upward through the hole and then fix them into the power input terminals with the screws. So basically what we had done before. So we're going to take the 2 loose wires and we're going to feed them in to the back slit. So I fed the red one and I'm feeding in the white one. There we go. These are fed in towards the back. And I know it's hard to see this during this with all the wires hanging out, but there's the slit in the back. It's a long slit, not the circle. And the 2 wires coming in. And these are going to be wired directly into the green portion. So, just kind of And during this step you might find that you need to loosen it up a little bit. Maybe not. It all depends. And what I would do is don't put them both in, then tighten them. I would say tighten, put one in at a time and tighten that one. Then put the next one in and tighten that one. So what I often find is that these pop out when you put one in. You put one in and then you try to put the other in and the other one pops out and back and forth. So the nice thing, now one thing to take note is that there's solder at the end of these wires, so that it makes it easy to put it into these little holes. If it does not have any solder, I highly suggest just putting a little dabble on there to make sure that it stays put and the wires don't get unraveled. So there you have it. We've gone ahead and wired that up. And we followed the picture, but I'm going to make sure that the picture was accurate by looking at the let's see here, positive and negative. Okay. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of feeding the wires downward now so that we don't have any excess hanging out. And there you have it. Wired neatly right there, coming right towards the slit. And there's the power switch right in the front, left and right, turn it on and off. Very simple. Still have the standoffs there. Now if it seems like we're going everywhere, we're not really going in a certain direction, just remember, we suggest you watch this tutorial with the documentation on how to build the Hexapodinno, because we are going step by step. So now it says we got to install the servo wires to the servo commander. Now this is going to be a lengthy process, and there's a lot of wires here. We have to install approximately 18 servo wires onto the board. So what we're going to do is that we're going to break here, and our next video will show this already wired up. So hopefully you shouldn't see all these loose wires anymore. It'll be nicely tie wrapped and ready to go. See you soon.